Okay, welcome back. Let's talk a little bit about the creation of Italy, which became a country in the 1860s, which was a consequence of some long run factors that have been going on within Italy. So, some prior events to the unification of Italy, like Germany, like Spain, they have been occupied by Napoleon during the Napoleonic Wars. There was a lot of resentment to this, and so this sparked feelings of nationalism. Um, of course, the Austrians didn't want a unified Italy, as we said earlier. They didn't want that competition, and so any type of nationalistic movements that happened in the early 19th century were suppressed by the Austrians. There was this movement called Young Italy that was led by Giuseppe Mazzini. He was a nationalist. He made the argument that Italy was united by geography. It was a peninsula. They shared a language, they shared traditions, they were an entity, so they should be a country. And he did a lot to influence some of the subsequent leaders of Italian independence. The first person, though, to really start to actively try to pull Italy together was the Prime Minister of Sardinia, whose name was Camillo Cavour. He began to ally Sardinia with other major European powers. For instance, with the Crimean War, they really didn't gain any territory by allying with Britain and France against Russia. But when it came time for peace talks, Sardinia had a seat at the treaty table. So this starts to put Sardinia in the limelight. When Napoleon III comes to power, one of the things that Cavour does is he forms a mutual defense treaty with the French so that if they are attacked for any reason, the French are going to come to their aid. In 1859, Sardinia provoked a war with Austria. This made the French come in and help them, and one of the things that enabled the Sardinians to do is to annex Lombardy and some other states in the northern part of the Italian peninsula. Another leader who is on the opposite side of Italy is a man named Giuseppe Garibaldi, who was influenced by Mazzini's Young Italy. He was not a monarchist. Cavour was a monarchist, wanted to get Victor Emmanuel king of Italy. Garibaldi believed in a republic, and his soldiers were called the Red Shirts. They actually took over the southern part of Italy. And in probably one of the most selfless things that a person could do in history, he could have pushed to have a republic. He could have stood up against Cavour, but in the interest of creating a united Italy, he basically turned over everything to Victor Emmanuel and to Emmanuel's prime minister and stepped back. 1861, Victor Emmanuel is crowned king of a united Italy. It wasn't completely united because the area around Rome, the area around Venice, those weren't really added to the 1870s, but it did create a country. Now, Italy then, Italy now still faces challenges. For one thing, even though they have a geographical, cultural, linguistic connection, there is no tradition for political unity. So the northern part tends to be a little bit more urban and industrial, it's wealthier. The southern part has always kind of lagged behind. The Catholic Church was not really in favor of this, largely because a lot of the people who favored constitutional governments tended to be hostile to the Roman Catholic Church. There was a huge population explosion that occurred in this time period, and so many new people that it did spark an exodus of Italians to different parts of the world. The United States was the beneficiary of a lot of this. And that will conclude our discussion about the unification of Italy.